Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome back to this program what I am calling a near Academy Award winning associate.
No, I am an Academy Award winning associate.
You,
They gave it. Yes.
Richard Kind, you were, first off, I want to know why you were not on the dais when Argo won an Academy Award.
I was not invited to the party.
Oh, really?
That is the reason why. People really ask that. First of all, I'm way down on the call list. Secondly, it doesn't matter if you are not nominated. You don't get to the party. You don't get to go. The only reason Bryan Cranston was there was maybe he paid $10,000 for the ticket. Maybe Warner Brothers said, "You know what? You're famous. You're going to be doing more of our movies. We'll take you along." But if you're not there, you're not there.
Well, I got to say that I think many people would agree that had Ben Affleck expanded your character in this piece, he probably would have been had a better shot at Best Director. I mean, let's be honest.
I didn't know where it was going to go, but I knew that was the route you were taking.
Well, of course. I mean, everybody walking out of the theater, not that I watched it in a theater, but sitting in my room watching it on DVD because I am a member of SAG. I previewed the movie.
You gripped the couch's armrest with excitement.
I was like, wait a second. Both myself and my wife just turned to each other and said, we want to follow that character more. You played the casting director in right? Is that what, or like an agent, essentially? I mean, you were a Hollywood guy.
The producer. I had the movie. Some people think it's the writer of the movie, but it's the producer of the movie Argo.
Right.
That's what it was.
That's where the meat of the story is. Yes, there's the intrigue about being in Iran and whatnot, but I want to know how you're putting that movie together.
It was a very nice little role. I was happy to do it. That's what it was. A very nice little role.
Yeah, no, it was great. And so, did you go out? You didn't even get to go to the Oscars, but you went to the Oscar party, surely.
You know what? Two of my best friends. One's very well known, and one is not as well known, but is a great guy and now a great Academy Award winning producer. Produced the movie. My friend Grant Heslov, who was an actor. I knew him when he was an actor, and we were best friends. And we go. I know his whole family, everything like that. Grant is now George Clooney's producing partner, and they run the company Smokehouse Films, and he produced the film.
Now wait a second. Now,
and 15 years ago, that guy was literally cutting people's audition tapes, trying to make a living as an actor, and had a little studio thing. It was great. His story is wonderful. It's a really, really great story.
That's basically your way of saying that there's still an opportunity for me.
That is, and for the world.
Now, Grant is the guy who got up there, and I thought he had a great joke. Nobody seemed to get it, but he said something to the effect of, like, I know you're sitting here going, like, how is it that there's these...
The three of the greatest looking producers. You're the sexiest. Is that it?
Yeah. I thought that was a great joke, but the audience didn't seem to pick up on it.
Okay. After 4.5 hours, what are you going to do?
Was he upset about that? Give us a little insight.
No. He gave a great speech.
I know.
Your perception, Sam, you're a little more savvy by all of this. Than all of this. Yeah, he won the Academy Award. Honest to God, there's nothing that can upset you when you win an Academy Award.
I don't know. I just sort of think I think there is a quality of people, particularly actors, where if there's one person not laughing and you tell a joke, it's always that one person you focus on, right? So he walks off with the Oscar, but.
At that point, as I asked him, I said, "What was it like?" And he just goes, "It was a surreal moment. You don't even realize you're there. You don't know it. I mean, just try and put yourself in his place. There's 3,000 people looking at you. You can't believe it. You have reached the pinnacle of artistic or cinema success in." Anywhere, the pinnacle. And you're holding that symbol of that in your hand, and will have it for the rest of your life. Who's listening or counting or anything that he could remember to open his mouth is something. I can't even think of what must go through somebody's mind. You don't go, gee, I wish they laughed at that. Your heart is pounding. And you're sitting at home going, why aren't they laughing at this? He's going, what the hell am I doing here? Whose dream life is this? And
I got to ask you, were you saying as you were watching? Where were you watching this? I imagine that you were at a chic Hollywood party.
I was. George and Grant, the production company, threw a party at a wonderful restaurant called Craig's on Melrose. It's a great restaurant. If you're in LA, I encourage you to. And Craig just had twins 2 weeks ago. It's a great guy. And so they rented out the restaurant because we all know Craig. And so I was watching actually with a bigger star, a couple of bigger stars from the cast, Tate Donovan and Chris Denham. I can't remember the blonde's name, but she's so pretty. She played one of the hostages, another, and that's where we were. We were watching it.
That's like your Seth Macfarlane impersonation
there.
Very
close friends of George and Grant's were together, and the restaurant only had about 30 people in it. I mean, later on that night, it must have had 200, but we were just quietly watching, and we screamed when our friends. It's Hollywood, but for us, it's why we maintain our friendships, and we that's who it was. It was just a
now, Richard. Be honest with me. Was there just a little bit of that, like, hey, how come I'm not up there? Come on, be honest with me.
I hope someday I get invited to the party, and I often say, well, why don't I become a producer? Why shouldn't I work at George's company? And then I realized. Because I would stink at it. I can't even keep my household going. How in the world am I going to take a multi-million-dollar movie and try and organize that?
And frankly, it would be too much of a loss. We need you. We need you acting. It would be.
And that's one other reason. It's because I give to the world. Exactly. This is the dumbest questions I've ever heard. No, I did say. I jokingly say. I would crawl through glass to get an Academy Award. That's what every actor, wants to do. You dream about it. And not necessarily that much anymore. Of course, I dream about it, but when you're a kid, you dream about it. So, I can harken back to that time where that was the be-all and end-all. Now I love to work. I like doing good work. But, ask anybody, any actor, they wouldn't want to win an Academy Award. Oh, my God. Yeah, but on the flip side of that is ask any actor who wouldn't want the opportunity to give a performance that is worthy of an Academy Award and do that kind of work. That's another way of looking at it. And I think that I'm old enough to know, oh, my gosh, wouldn't it be great to have a great role like that and be able to perform it?
I got to say, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm holding in my hand the 2012 Podcast Award for Politics and News. I'm holding
exactly where from I speak.
I am holding it in my hand as we speak, and I was unable to attend the ceremonies in Las Vegas that were hosted by Leo Laporte. I'm sure you know the host of the Leo Laporte. You're joking now, of course, that you don't know who he is, but he is the award-winning host of Tech in Week, I think it is, podcast. And I sent my producer, Matt, and I watched it on the stream, and just the sheer excitement that I had when the Majority Report was named as the 2012 best podcast in politics and news. So I certainly know exactly what your friends felt. I will say this. I do want to ask honestly, why didn't you go? Why didn't I go to Vegas? Because, my wife is pregnant, and, we were, how it is with pregnant wives. It's very much about nesting, and there's got to be, there's a lot of purging. You'd have to bring.
What was the time between when the awards were and her due date?
Well, a couple months.
No, I don't think that's a very good excuse. Did you know you were going to win?
You know what? Matt was convinced that we were going to win because they flew us. They flew us out there. They flew Matt out there. So he's
Right.
like, they wouldn't have done that.
So that's something else. You're talking about a day and a half because you gained time, so you could have left that night, the night before, or even that day, the day of the awards. My guess is they were held at night. Flown back the next day early. You're talking about a day and a half. Your wife could have survived without you. I know your wife. She is certainly a woman of the world with a foundation of strength who could certainly make her own breakfast the next day, no matter how uncomfortable she was, in order to take care of your other child.
Well,
I think she could have handled herself. And were you excited that you were going to win?
Was I excited that I was going to win? I mean, it's yeah, of course, it's everything that everybody dreams of as a kid. That
No, you don't dream of it as a kid, but now it's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice to know that not just money, but actual, that you're not just rewarded with money, but actually people who enjoy what you do?
It's almost, I would almost phrase that in lieu of money.
Wait, it's just in lieu of money.
In lieu of money, that's, yeah, no, of course. I definitely appreciate it, which, I mean, I watched the live stream. I was very excited, and I texted Matt as soon as he went up there. But, so yes, and if had we had this conversation 3 months ago, I would have gone.
Sure. Absolutely. They're giving you an award. They're telling you you're successful at what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have always a natural, a natural, and sort of it's in my DNA to be suspicious of such things. Frankly, I mean,
it's your job to be cynical. It's also your job to be cynical.
Yes, I think so. Like I have to say that I didn't watch all of the Academy Awards this time, but I watched almost 60% of it, and it is the most of any Academy Awards I've ever watched in my entire life. When I was an actor, I would go to the parties, but it was basically, it was mostly in New York, your attorney would throw a party or something like that, your entertainment lawyer, and it was almost exclusively to pick up girls. I wouldn't even watch the.
Well, I live my life for that. That is
right.
what I live. That's my raison d'etre.
Right.
But when I was a kid,
throwing around the French must help.
I would dress up. I would put on a coat and tie and watch the Oscars, and not let any of my family into our living room, or our den where we watched. I would watch it alone. Now all I watched was.
Do you have? Is there a photograph of that? Because I would love to see.
No, it looks just like my bar mitzvah picture, except my family isn't around me. And then this year, I always watch the first 20 minutes because I want to hear the jokes and you see the numbers, and then I stop watching it. I don't watch it. I didn't watch any of the Academy Awards except for when they announced for Argo. I saw it at one party. I was at this party in L.A., and the reason why I love going to the party is there's a lot of old stars. I mean, you could call it the mausoleum. It's just old stars. And every once in a while you get a star who you really want to talk to and you want to sort of dig into what it was like. I got to talk to Kevin McCarthy one year for about 2 hours. This year, you know who I met?
Who?
This year, I talked to Bernie Kopell for a little while. Remember Bernie Kopell?
Was he a producer? Who is he?
He was on Love Boat. He was I didn't watch Love Boat.
Oh, right. He was Doc.
Yeah, I would talk to him. I talked to him about Get Smart, and he was talking about his early days with Jack Benny. So it's a great party, and I see a lot of old friends who I used to know when I lived in L.A., so I love that party. I left that party at around 7:15, 7:30, and then I went to this other party at Craig's, and saw all my friends. I just was talking to my friends, and so I don't watch the awards either anymore, which is really, actually, I find very sad. I find it really sad. It has nothing to do with, it's so boring. I actually taped it, and I have it at home, and I'm going to probably watch it all.
Wow.
But I don't watch it anymore.
Now I will say this.
I really do think that's sad. It's a
Why is
very
that sad? Why is that sad?
Because I used to be all excited about the glamour. No, not the glamour, about the history.
I got to say that the as far as I could tell, those Academy Awards could have been shot in 1985. It seemed like every number they did was sort of some type of weird throwback. Seth MacFarlane, the host, seemed to be like talking in a different age, like they were trying to make it like the Brat Pack, where women were dames. Or, they had nice gams, I thought he was going to say at one point.
Okay, all right. But I happen to have loved Seth MacFarlane on the show. And I was at something the other night at a sort of not a conference, but a seminar, a roundtable thing. And the women there...
Wait, a roundtable for what? Wait a second. What does that mean? You're at an Oscar roundtable?
No. It was no. For a school.
Oh, okay.
For school. I went to something about... resilience for girls, believe it or not.
Okay.
How when you're young and I've got an 11-year-old and we're she's getting a little bit older. So anyway, so we're at this table and one of the women brought up the song that Seth MacFarlane sang and said how awful it was, what a slap in the face to women, to all these great actresses, that the media just shows girls and women, shows women as objects, and but she's right. And yet I thought it was hilarious. I simply thought it was so funny, and I understand, and she's right, and I'm not a victim of such things as women have to be nowadays by sexualizing them or what's the word I wanted to use? But as mere objects, portraying them as mere objects rather than as people, as three-dimensional people. And I'm not a victim of that kind of prejudice. So it was. I just looked at it and laughed. I understand this woman, and on the other hand, I want to say, lighten up, lady. There were a lot of women to get augmentation, so that they can show off their bosoms in a certain way.
I like how you're saying that. Like when you're retelling the idea that you were going to say lighten up, you almost went into almost like an Andrew Dice Clay type of lighten up, lady.
It might be interpreted as an Andrew Dice Clay, but I hope I don't go that base.
No.
I'm going a little baser than I'd like to be, but I do want to say, lighten up. I thought that did you hear about the Onion Twitter?
Yes, the Onion had
I'm sorry. I guffawed, and I'm going to tell you something right now. Shame on the Onion for apologizing. Shame on that. Maybe I can equally say maybe shame on the producers of the Oscars to let a song like that go on the air, but I thought it was funny. But what the Onion did was simply hilarious. There is nothing that was offensive about that except for the use of the word, but nevertheless, the use of the word made it that much funnier.
I got to be honest. I know I know the vague outlines of it. What did the actual tweet say? I know that they used the word "see you next Tuesday" as we say it around here for obvious reasons.
Give me the young actress's name from Children of the Southern Beast.
I can't remember her name, but let's call her young actress.
Okay, let's call it Mary Smith.
Okay.
Let's call it. It's something like something Wallace. I know it is, but I can't remember it. Okay, and they said, "Is it just me, or is Mary Smith a see you next Tuesday?" Now that it was, or it is. Yes, I think that's what it was. Now that to me is hilarious. The girl's not even known. We've not seen interviews. She's a dear little child. It's the furthest thing. It's the furthest thing from it.
Right.
Oh, it was it was hilarious. It was so out of the blue, and it was funny. And I just think that the Onion should not have apologized because they rather on the flip side, on the other side of the coin, they should have been congratulated.
Wow.
For being so inoffensive.
Wow.
The only offensive part of that thing is the use of the word, but the use of the word made it that much funnier. There's no other word.
Well, I think we've broken some news.
What?
We got our exclusive. for the TMZ.
It's what I believe. I truly do believe it. I'm so sorry that the Onion. Look, I might get in trouble. I might get in as much trouble as the Onion did. Look, this is going out there, but that is something. Yes, lighten up. Lighten up. That is simply taking a very, very innocent young thing, and I think can't stand it.
I think the further you go, the more chances are you're going to have to apologize for this.
No, I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree.
Hold on, wait a second. Michael, one of my producers, wants to ask you a question.
Are you there? I have a question for you. I disagree with you a little bit about the Onion joke, but I see what you're saying. I actually thought Seth MacFarlane's joke about her was a lot more questionable. You remember that joke?
Which joke?
The joke where he said that she's 9, so that means in like 15 years she'll be too old for George Clooney. Do you remember that joke?
Funny joke.
It's a funny joke, but she was sitting right there. Yeah. She's a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think kids should be allowed to go.
You don't do it. You don't do it in front of her.
Right.
That's the first thing. And it's an easy joke. It's an easier joke. What the Onion did was so smart. It went to the edge. You would never think in the world to call a little thing like that what they did. It's out of the realm of possibility. So that only a great comic mind would think, because she's the furthest thing from it.
I'm starting to now I'm starting to think that you wrote the joke.
That I what?
I'm starting to think that it was a retweet of yours.
No, I'm not smart enough to make a joke like that. That's why the Onion is so funny.
Richard,
the Onion is funnier than anything I could ever come up with.
Coming out strong, pro Onion use of that joke. Well, all right, mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, Richard, we don't have too much time. I know you're in the middle of you're rehearsing for something. Is that right? Can you talk about it?
I was, but we're broken for lunch.
And
but yes, no. Wait, you bring it up. I'm gonna.
Well, please do. I mean, come on.
For those of you who agree with my opinion and therefore may like me, come see a show called The Big Knife. It's at the American Airlines Theater. It's a roundabout production. Very prestigious theater company here in New York. It's going to be on Broadway. Bobby Cannavale the cast is spectacular.
Wow.
Bobby Cannavale, Reg Rogers, Chip Zien, Joey Slotnick. It's directed by Doug Hughes. Brilliant man. Brilliant director. Brilliant man. And it's heavy. If you
when does it open? When does it open? And who are they going to have to replace you with after this whole thing about the Onion tweet gets out there?
Yeah. We start previews March 22nd. And we open April 19th. And it's a very limited run because probably Bobby has a movie to do.
Well,
but
I'm sure you do too.
Great in the show. I have a movie to watch.
Well, come on.
I don't necessarily have a movie to do.
Movie to watch is the perfect segue. What is the movie? What is the movie to watch is the perfect segue into you telling me what movie I should watch. As you know, obviously I can't leave the house for an extended period of time. My wife could go into labor at any moment. Therefore, I need to watch any movie that I'm going to watch on streaming. What should I watch?
Okay, are you talking about a modern movie or what?
Whatever movie you think I should watch.
Today, that's out now, or a movie you can rent?
A movie that I can rent.
Have you ever seen Witness for the Prosecution?
Is this the one? No, I don't know if I have seen that.
It is directed by Billy Wilder with Charles Lawton, Tyrone Power, and Marlena Dietrich.
A Witness for the Prosecution. Why should I watch that?
Witness for the Prosecution. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's really, really good. It's really good. I got another movie you should watch. Now, but Witness for the Prosecution is one of my favorite movies to watch. It's my unknown favorite movie. It's just so much fun to watch. It's so good. It's so good. But and I don't go out to the movies. I don't see much because I've got a child. I've got 3 children.
Right.
So I haven't seen Lincoln yet. I haven't seen Amour. I haven't seen these movies. So But I did see a movie. I was in L.A. and watched a movie with a friend and his wife, called Headhunters. Have you heard about it?
No.
It's a Danish movie. I wouldn't necessarily, but I don't mind foreign films, but I wouldn't necessarily do this. This is such a good thriller. Oh, it's really, really good. It's called Headhunters, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. You'll say who directed it, who starred in it. All I know are there are umlauts. That's all I know.
Umlauts. All right. Well, that's. I think we can just search on Netflix for umlauts, and it'll come up.
I think I know we watched it on his Apple TV. But so I don't know whether you can get it on Netflix.
Well, that's fine because I have Apple TV.
It is on Netflix,
and it's on Netflix. Bingo.
I can't recommend it highly enough. It's really good. You'll call me. You'll thank me. It's a good movie. It's really, really good.
Well, Richard, thank you for the recommendation. Thank you for
Thank you for ruining my career with my little endorsement of the Onion joke.
I think the upside is you've just locked in best news and political podcast for me for 2013. Breaking stories like this.
I will be glad. I will be glad to find the vocabulary that will support why this was so good and why it was actually inoffensive if you don't mind the C word.
Tell it to TMZ,
totally
buddy.
Inoffensive.
Tell it to TMZ when they come knocking.
Well, TMZ is not my favorite either, but I'm sure I've just opened a new can of worms there, too.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Slamming TMZ. I already get to see the headline for this. All right, Richard Kind, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward
to
coming out and seeing Big Knife. Yes, we'll see you at pickup or drop off.
Right.
All right, thanks, buddy.
I'll talk to you
Appreciate
later.
it.
Okay, thanks. Bye.